Hi and welcome to your members only puzzle build video for April. So I avoided a vote for this one because it's a Cloudberries puzzle and Cloudberries have been pipped to the post a couple of times in previous votes. So I wanted to give one a go for this month, and the one I've plumped for is Egyptology. Now, I've actually had this puzzle for a while now. I found it in a charity shop and at the time it was actually on my wish list. So when I saw it, I was really happy and I picked it up, but it's been languishing on my shelf for quite a while. So I'm happy to be able to do it for you today. I'm looking forward to it. I love the image. I love all the colours and all the patterns. It's a busy image, but it looks fun. And I do like a good Cloudberries puzzle. So let's get the box opened and we'll see what these pieces are like. Fingers crossed all of the pieces will be present and correct. You never know with charity shop puzzles, but yeah, let's have a look and we shall see. Okay, so this box has some tape on either side of it. I don't know if the previous owner did that or if the charity shop did that. Oh dear, it's ripped the box. Ripped the box a wee bit. Such as the drawback with tape, I guess. Oh dear, I'm finding it hard to get off. Okay, lid's coming off. And, oh, okay, so it's been opened, but the pieces have been put back in the original bag. We've still got the wee hello slip of paper. And the poster is in there as well. So that's really good. Cloudberries is another good example of a maker of 1,000 piece puzzles that actually does put a poster in, which is good. I do like the option to have a poster, although there is a full picture on the front of the box. It's not obscured, but it is a little smaller than the box itself. And this is here, you know, should you need it. So that's really good. Now, there's a few pieces stuck together. I'm assuming that's because it's been built before. It's been sort of fairly well taken apart, but there's just one or two still together. So, I mean, I won't get that all done now, but as I go through them, I will take them apart. I don't tend to leave pieces together. I tend to do that unless it's a particularly difficult puzzle. Then I'll take it as a bonus. So the pieces look to be in pretty good shape. This one doesn't feel overly waxy. Mostly Cloudberries have like a waxy feel to them. I can still feel it, but it's not overly so. Again, I'm assuming that's because this puzzle's been done before. Always liked Cloudberries pieces. Quite thick, nice and sturdy, a good matte surface on them, and just nice pieces to work with. The only thing I have found with Cloudberries across the board is that occasionally you can get false fits, but I'm not so certain that's going to happen with this puzzle. It's very patterned, very there's a lot going on, lots of textures, so I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be hard to put a piece in wrong because of a false fit. I think that the image will kind of negate that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a try. Again, sort of encouraged so far by how it's been packaged up. So I am living in hope that there are no missing pieces in this puzzle. So yeah, I think what I'll do, I don't know if it's worthwhile sorting this puzzle because there's so much going on in the image. I think that might be the best bet for Egyptology. So yeah, I will get on with doing some sorting just now, and then I will start building. Possibly start with the edge, although the edge all kind of looks the same. So I might not do the edge, but we shall see. We shall see. We'll just get sorting just now and see where it takes us. All right, I've done the sorting. Quite pleased with how it's gone. Now, this image is very much kind of layers of patterns on top of patterns. So a lot of these pieces there'll be crossover between the piles of pieces that I've done. So I'll show you what I've sorted them into, and I'll kind of refer to this quite a lot because there are a lot of patterns and things going on here. So I'm just going to pop that there for a second. These ones up here are largely yellow. I've not really sorted those by a pattern. I've just put some there that are mostly yellow pieces, but there are some stripy ones, there are some blocks of yellow, and there are kind of bits with yellow and white where it's maybe this bit here, where there's like white dots on a yellow background. So that's mostly yellow. Another pile I've sorted by colour is that one, that's reds. And that's a similar idea. There's some blocks of red and there's some red with white spots and stripes and things. So that's that. They're the edges, just there. This is a pile of pieces where it's kind of mostly just stripes, but there are stripes of different colours. Mostly I was trying to find these ones, but I think I may have picked up other ones, possibly some of these pieces just on the inside of the edge where there's stripes. So it's a little bit of a mishmash, that pile, but mostly I was trying to find those tall stripes in the middle. This pile here is blue background with dots. And again, there's a lot of areas that are like that scattered across the puzzle. So what I actually did was, because this pile was growing quite quickly, I actually separated dark blue into different piles. There was a pile here of blue where it's just kind of just a normal blue. There's no dots or anything like that. And some of them have stars on, but the background is just kind of plain blue. There's no sort of dottiness like there is on these ones. So that's separated. This one is a pile of blue pieces, but with white stars. Then there's a lot of blue on these pieces as well, but this is a specific pattern. This is kind of like a cow kind of print. It's got like splotches, and you can see it there around the outside of that rectangle. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the best thing I can think of is cow print. That's largely green pieces, so there's different patterns. You've got green stars, green stripes, green splotches, just like that one, but green. So that's that pile. That's a pile of blue and white stripes. That is a pile of kind of blue and green splotches. That overlaps quite a lot with this pile. Because I think a lot of those go here again around the outside of that rectangle, and they're right beside each other, the same two patterns but different colours. So there will be some crossover there. Here we've got like a checkerboard pattern, black and white squares. That is blue and white stripes but in kind of waves. That is pieces that I think go here. There's sort of circular bit here where there's lines and then white in between them. So I think that's largely that bit. Those pieces are this kind of red and gold stripe pattern. Those pieces are that checkered pattern with gold and white and red. And then lastly, there's this pile, which really is just everything that was left. It's a bit miscellaneous, but there are a lot of pieces with this kind of pattern in, where it's tiny little squares. And I think those pieces go in either this area here or this area here. And they're kind of tiny, so I didn't bother picking them out. There's a lot of pieces here where there's lots of patterns in one piece, so I haven't sorted them into a specific pile. But it's not a very big pile, so we'll call this the miscellaneous pile, but it's not huge, so I'm not too worried about it. Now, I'm not really sure where to start with this because there's so many piles, but I'm thinking I'm just going to start small. I'm thinking I'll maybe start with this pile up here because it's very a distinctive pattern. There aren't many of the pieces. And then perhaps like this pattern and these stars. Ones where it's sorted by a pattern rather than a colour, and where the piles are small, and I'll take it from there. I'm not going to do the edges first because they all look very similar, and I think that's just making it more difficult for myself. So yeah, smaller piles sorted into patterns, and I will take it from there. If any of them border other areas of patterns where I can just grab a pile of pieces and start to attach them together, I'll do that. But yeah, be interesting to see how this comes together, whether it comes together in lots of little sections that eventually kind of gel, or whether it kind of grows from a small area and becomes one from there. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. So here goes. Let's get building. Okay, so here is progress. And I have found myself consciously trying to build adjacent sections. So I kind of thought that I would just grab piles that were small and have, wee bits coming together. But once I'd started this, I then started hunting around these parts because that kind of overlaps, and then I went into this bit because that's in between there, that's like inside of there, and I didn't want partially finished sections, so I ended up going into other piles even before I'd finished one pile of pieces, and then that kind of then moved me onto other bits. So then here I ended up moving on to here, but this square here is quite a big section, so I started to work on these, but then realized I didn't have a lot of these pieces because they were in the pile with these pieces in, these green splotches. So then I was at that pile, and then I kind of generally ended up working on this rectangle, got rid of all these blue bits, some of the blue stripy bits. So I've been very in and out of different piles, and I've really just aimed to try and keep it as together as I can. So that's the way I've been going with it. It's quite satisfying building it that way, but I've actually been finding that this puzzle's harder than I thought it would be. I think it's just all the patterns. There's just so many patterns all next to each other and layered on top of each other. It sends your eyes a wee bit sort of funny. But for the most part, it's fine, and I've really been enjoying it. So I'm whittling down these piles, but it's getting a little bit messy on my board. But I'm just going to keep going like that, I think. So I've just started on this area here with these big circles, which is just there. So I've kind of done as many as I can out of that particular pile, but I think there might be a few in the yellow pieces pile and also possibly the green pieces pile. So I'm going to start to dig into them a little bit and see if I can fill out that bit. And then who knows where the next bit will take me. I'm just sort of going where the puzzle leads, if that makes sense. So it may end up possibly being blue stripes or I don't know, maybe the checkerboards, although I'm not so keen on the idea of the checkerboards because they're a bit more scattered around the puzzle, and Checkered patterns really do send my eyes a wee bit funny, black and white and stuff. And I find it hard to focus on the pieces, so maybe I'll avoid those. But yeah, I think next I'm going to delve into these two piles, that yellow and that green pile, try and finish this area up a bit, and then see where that takes me. Maybe move on to perhaps some red pieces. I've been sort of hitting a few red areas there. I put those together already, but there's a wee red bit there that I could maybe put together, see if I can finish this blue splotchy pattern as well. So yeah, it's a bit haphazard really. I'm glad I sorted it. I think shuffling would have been quite tricky with this puzzle. So I am glad I sorted it, but it's yeah, there's no real kind of logic to the order I'm doing. I am literally just trying to do sections beside ones I've already built, and it's coming along nicely. Right, I've really just come down to filling out the gaps now. Maybe got 3-4 piles of pieces left. Got some of these blue dotty pieces left here, which I've got rid of a few of. These ones are all of this area here and various other parts around the puzzle. I mean, it's kind of a mess, so I'm definitely leaving that till last because it's just, I don't know, it kind of hurts my eyes trying to focus on it. So I'm working on these dotty pieces at the moment, and there's a fair few gaps to fill in, but I'm able to use shape. And another thing I'm able to do is see how close the dots are depending on where it is. So like here, there's like a line down here where the dots are really close together, and then here they're further apart and they're oriented horizontally a wee bit more, and then here that's more kind of, you know, they're more sort of medium spaced apart. So just from looking at the pieces, I don't necessarily have the shape sort. I can kind of tell that, but then also I have got the shapes if I need it. So that's been quite handy for that. Another thing that I'm doing to try and fill out these gaps is to get rid of any pieces with tiny little details in. So things like pieces like this where there's a star, or perhaps there might be a tiny wee bit of green in that piece there, the one I'm looking for it, and things like that. So just ways to narrow down my options. I've got the edges left as well, and the other pile I have left, they're the edges, is these ones with these curly lines. And again, there's a fairly big section of that here and here, and I think the wavy stripes are going to sort of send me a bit dizzy as well. So I'm going to try and use any little detail I can, like this brown pole thing here, things like that, any other kind of colours that I might see, and just fill that out as much as I can to narrow down, and then it's just a case of filling in the gaps. I'm enjoying this puzzle, but it is harder than it looks. And then probably the end will be filling in these kind of areas, and like this here where it's all tiny little dots and pixels almost. So yeah, but otherwise it's coming together nicely. Right, so that is it finished, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was everything I've come to expect from a Cloudberries puzzle. Good sturdy pieces, nice finish on them, good image quality, true to the box. Thankfully, all of the pieces were there, and it still had its poster as well, so that is really brilliant. There was one, maybe two pieces where a little bit of the image was peeling off on the prong. It was kind of peeling back the way, but I think if this has been built before, once or twice, then that's probably come from the fact that, you know, it's been taken apart a couple of times, and I think, you know, eventually that probably takes its toll on a puzzle. So I'm going to put that down to that, and it was only really a couple that I found. I predicted right when I said that there likely wouldn't be any false fits. I didn't have any false fits in this one. The image was just too busy, and there was really no mistake whether a piece went in a certain place or not. So that was really good. The only thing that really surprised me about this puzzle was the fact that it was trickier than I thought. It was trickier than I thought it was going to be, which is not a bad thing. You know, I like a challenge, so that is fine. I think one of the things that made it a bit trickier was that there were some patterns that were repeated across the puzzle. So for example, the red, white and green checkered pattern at the top, and also the black and white checkered patterns, they were in little areas in more than two places in some cases across the puzzle, and in some cases the areas were really tiny, so you kind of missed them, and I'd be looking at a piece thinking, well, I've finished that bit, so where does this go? You know, and I really would struggle to find where a piece went sometimes. So I think it was just the, you know, the repeated patterns element of the image that kind of got me there, and the fact that some of the areas were just small, so they were kind of hidden. But again, that wasn't a bad thing. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the extra challenge of it. It just was more challenging than I thought it was going to be. And overall, I had a lot of fun with it. So let me know what you thought of this build. Do you like the puzzle? Do you like the image? Are you a fan of Cloudberries puzzles? Or would you like to try one? You know, if you haven't tried one yet, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Another good thing I'll say about Cloudberries is that the puzzles tend to hold together quite well, and I'm going to prove that just now with a pickup challenge. So if you bear with me while I move my chair out of the way, and I will pick this puzzle up. Ooh. There we are. Easy peasy. Stays together really, really well. So that is another thing I really like about Cloudberries. You can move sections around because it holds together quite nicely. But other than that, I think that's all I had to say about the puzzle. Before I say goodbye, I want to say thank you so much for all of your extra support, for being members with me, and for supporting me as much as you have. It really, really does make a difference, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for that. I will likely do a vote again for the May video, so have a wee look out for a poll on that. Not quite sure between which two puzzles it will be yet. I've got a lot to choose from, so I'll need to just choose a couple, and you can let me know which one you'd like to see. But otherwise, I will say goodbye for now. Thank you so much. Happy puzzling. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.